Human beings are not logical. We're biological, meaning we're driven by biology. We're driven by the chemicals in our system, right? Our whole body is a chemical factory. And we're driven by the chemicals in our body, right? We're driven by emotion. We're driven by feeling, right? Not necessarily logic, right? We are in a constant state of feeling, right? We're feeling machines, right? We're not a machine that feels. We're feeling machines. That's all we do, right? So we're not always logical. In fact, logic is logic is a whole different language in a way, right? Logic is a different language that not everybody speaks, right? We're driven by emotion, right? We're not logical. If think of the prison system, for example, right? If everybody was logical, right, and not driven by emotion or feeling, we wouldn't have a prison system. Think of all the people sitting in a prison cell right now that made permanent choices based on temporary feelings, right? Your feelings are supposed to be temporary. They're supposed to be visitors, right? You're not supposed to get attached to them. But you have a lot of people right now sitting in a prison cell because they acted out of feeling, not with feeling, right? So I'm not saying don't feel your feelings, right? What I'm saying is don't get attached to your feelings. When you have a feeling and you supercharge the feeling, right? You attach yourself to the feeling, then it no longer is a feeling. It turns into an emotion, right? An emotion is a supercharged feeling, right? A supercharged feeling. And then once you hang on to that, right? Once you hang on to the emotion and it gets some momentum, then it stops being an emotion and it turns into a mood, right? A mood is when you can't stop feeling, right? It goes from a feeling to an emotion to a mood, right? And you have people that they hang on to these things, right? They're not conscious of the fact that your feelings are supposed to be temporary. They're like visitors, right? You have these emotional hemophiliacs that they feel everything and they attach themselves to it and it just keeps going. It's momentum, right? Until they're in a bad mood or whatever the case may be. That's all a mood is. It's when you can't stop feeling, right? And when you can't stop feeling, right? You get stuck in feelings and you get stuck in the past. And I mean that quite literally, right? When you get stuck in your feelings, you get stuck in the past, right? So you can't trust your feelings all the time. And again, I'm not saying don't feel your feelings. I'm saying don't get attached to your feelings because a lot of these feelings are based on trauma, right? You have a feeling, you get attached to it, it turns into an emotion, right? You get attached to the emotion and then it turns into a mood, right? Now you're in a bad mood, right? It's a mood is a chemical recording of your your body, right? Your mood is a chemical recording. It's a chemical factory, right? Your body's a chemical factory, and when you're in a bad mood, you're producing the same chemicals that you had when you were in a bad mood or when you got hurt, right? So a mood is basically you not being able to stop feeling. A mood, think of it this way. A mood is a point in time. A mood is a point in time that you're stuck in. It's a state of being, right? A mood is a point in time. It's a state of being. And if you don't understand this, you're destined to be stuck in the time period that you were hurt in. Literally, your chemicals are stuck in that state, right? Your hormones are stuck in that state. So when you have thoughts, the thoughts happen in your head, right? But when you have emotions, when you have feelings, it happens in your body, right? Without a body, you cannot be in a bad mood, right? Without your actual physical body, you cannot have feelings. You need the body, right? All of this is happening in your body, right? So when you, for example, when you think of a memory, right, of a time when you experienced trauma or you were hurt, you don't always remember the exact date, right? Or the exact same time, or the temperature of the day, right? Like, what's the temperature today? You don't remember a lot of these logistics, right? What you do remember is how you felt, right? Similar to when somebody passes away, you don't remember the exact same time that you spent time with them, or the exact same place you went to, or whatever, the car you were driving at the time. You don't remember any of that. You just remember how the person made you feel. That's all you're left with. Your memory is how you felt when you were around the person, right? You don't remember the logistics. You remember the feeling. The feeling of your first grade teacher, the feeling of your wedding day, the feeling of, your first day in school, right? The feeling of the first time you drove a car, right? This is the feel. You don't remember the dates. You just remember what you felt at the time, right? It's an imprint, right? It's a chemical factory that has a chemical recording of that feeling at that point in time. Your mood is a point in time, right? The memory is a point in time. So when you get attached to these chemical outbursts, you're stuck in the past, right? It's safe to say that if you're reliving, literally, if you're reliving old memories where you had wounding experiences, where when you were hurt, when you had trauma, you're reliving this in your body physiologically, literally, right? When you're doing this, you don't leave any room for new experiences to flourish. It's a point in time. It's your responsibility to maintain composure, to not let your passions get the best of you, to keep your frame, okay? You cannot be in a constant state of being reactive, right? It's a form of slavery. When you react to people, places, situations, you're at the mercy of whatever it is that's going on around you, as opposed to protecting your own sovereignty and protecting your own inner dimension. Okay? It's about keeping your frame, being stoic, and not letting anybody dictate what's going on inside of you, because what's going on inside of you is always up to you. It's not up to them, it's up to you. Okay? So the expectation is that you're able to sustain these emotional storms, these winds of emotion, without getting attached to them. And again, I'm not saying don't feel your feelings. I'm saying don't get attached to your feelings. If you do so, it'll turn into an emotion, it'll turn into a mood, and then you get stuck. You get stuck in the past, right? The mood is a point in time, right? It's the attachment to the feeling that sabotages you, that's debilitating. It's not the feeling in and of itself, is you holding on to that feeling, right? I'm reminded of an analogy that Sadhguru once said. When you shake somebody's hand, for example, you touch somebody's hand, you're not really touching their hand, right? You're feeling the sensations inside of your hand, right? So if I shake your hand, right? Like if I touch your hand, I'm not really feeling what's going on inside of your hand. There's no way I can do that, right? I don't know if you have arthritis in your hand or if your knuckles are aching, right? I don't know if your thumb is sore, for example. I don't know if you smash your fingers and you're in pain, right? When I touch your hand, when I feel your hand, I'm not really feeling your hand. I'm feeling the sensations inside of my hand, right? I have no way of knowing what's going on inside of your hand, even when I'm feeling it, right? So nobody makes you feel a certain way. You choose that. You allow that to happen. Nobody has control over your inner dimension. You're in control, right? So when people say, oh, You make me angry, for example, right? There's an argument. Oh, you make me angry. Okay, the person's not making you angry. Okay, that person is making you feel angry, right? But you're feeling that way because you're allowing it. You're attached to the feeling. Do you see what I'm saying? You're responsible for your inner being. No one else can touch it except you, right? You need to hold yourself accountable and not divorce yourself from responsibility. It's the attachment to the feeling, not the feeling itself, and your ability to manage and navigate your way through and around feelings, not holding on to them. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. And that's life.